Hi guys, how's it going? I've got a video planned that I've had a couple of requests for, and it's some of my tips and tricks. Now mine aren't the normal tips and tricks that you always think about, so I'm just going to dive right into it. First, I'm going to show you about 2 or 3 kinds of fussy cutting I do. Now, I love this little mente paper that has your, May gave it out a long time ago as a giveaway. So it's got lots, I hate when they put it on both sides, I really do. So what I try to do is decide the ones that I really want first. And those are the ones that I cut. So this time I really want this camera. So the first thing I do is I cut me out a piece that is big enough that I can twirl it. I'll tell you about that in a little while. And then over here, I really would like to do, see, I always put back and forth. Oh, let's do this, let's do these flowers. That would be a good one to show you what I do, how I do it. Everybody has their own technique, but I've had quite a few ask me how I do it because I am not a precise person. So that one and that one. Now let's do one on the dark side. Let's do, everybody can do that one easily. Let's see what's down here. Let's just do the little hinge. All right, and I'm going to do the feather because that's, a lot of folks have trouble with that. Okay, that should be plenty. All right, the camera is fairly easy. The trick that I use is I decide if there's elements I don't want. I don't want that little loop. I know I don't want that. I do want these. So I'll start out and I hold my, I shake a little bit, so I hold my scissors under and I use this 2 fingers to be my navigators. So I go around and I'll go all the way through. And then these are my navigators. I twist it and I go through, I'll go again, and I move my scissors some as I'm moving my picture, if that makes sense. So there's the other one. I'm doing the easy ones first. Here we go. Now these are the components that I want to keep. And so I'm conscious of, I'm gonna move my scissors and my paper. And see here's my navigators. I'm going to hold those. I'm not steadying my scissors because I want them to feel free to move. Now this one I'm getting fairly precise because it has all of the straight edges. Now when I get to these 3 here, I'm going to snip it off there. And I go back in. I don't care if some of the white's left. All I want is a suggestion. So I take my edge off there. And then I go in with the end of my scissors and I just snip a V. I just make a V. I don't care if I get it all or if I don't. See, I got that one, it snapped out. This one did not. So I'll go in and I'll push it through. See how it pushed through? It's tiny. See, it pushed through, right through there. And then I'll take my scissors and I'll cut it off. Or you can take your tweezers or twizers and you can pull it off. So that was a fairly easy one, fairly quick. And if you want to distress it, you can. You don't have to. Now, let's do something a little more complicated. Let's do the feather. All right, I don't care if white's left, and I'll show you why. But here again, I use my steadying fingers to get that pretty close. Then I'll go out. I've got a little feather there. I'll go in. Got a little loose one there. I'll go out. And then I'll cut it to where the edges are, because I'm going to come back. And then I'll do the same thing here. I'll get into the V, and then I use the edge of my scissors to cut that out. Then I'll go down through here. This one was smoother than the other one, so I chose to do it first. And you have your little ragtags here. Just go around those. Okay, now, if you'll notice, I'm just getting enough here that it looks like feathers. Okay, see these edges here where they're white? I'm just going to go back in and do my little V again. Some of them I'll get, some of them I won't. I'm going into the actual feather so they'll have a little dimension. All right, here's one of my tips that I do. Feather is brown. So I'm going to go into my Distress ink. I'm going to hold him down here, and I'm just going to distress him enough that the brown comes through. If you're doing green, you're going to use green. If you're using pink, you're going to use pink. If you don't want it to look distressed, then I'm going to go through and I'm going to pop my little feathers up. And I'm going to distress the back so that the feathers don't have the white. And I'm just going to pull them up. Quickest, easiest way to do that. And now your feather looks like you cut out every little bitty piece of it, and you didn't. So that's one of my tricks that I do. The hinge is going to be fairly straightforward. I just want to do it again so you'll see. If I can make a long cut, I just hold it. Now I'm going to straight cut one of these, and I'm going to bubble cut another one. All right, that's my straight cut. This is going to be my bubble cut. It's quicker. Don't care if I get close or not. And when you finish, it's really not that much difference in your bubble cutting. If you want to distress it, you can. If you want to go back in there and take it out, you can. But it's a no stress. Now here is the really no stress bubble cut. There's a lot of curves in here, lots and lots. They don't bother me because all I do is I just bubble cut around them. I'm using my fingers, my navigators, whichever ones I choose. Sometimes I use my metal, sometimes I use that. I'm not stabilizing my scissors, but I am stabilizing with my little finger because it's not very strong. And so if I need stabilization, I will stabilize it with my little finger. But mostly I just do this with my bubble cut. And it's quick, it's easy, it's no fuss. Sometimes you'll get close and sometimes you won't, which is perfectly fine. Now change positions. That's important to remember. You can change positions. Sometimes it's kind of like holding our breath when we're gluing something really tight. We forget that we can breathe. Well, you can move your fingers. And I'm just taking out chunks of paper. And when I get to these little flower things, I don't go all the way, but I do follow the line of the flower. So it's not squared off. It does look like the flower. So let's do this. If you would, please hit the subscribe button. I'm almost to 4,000. I am so excited. I never thought I'd have that many. So if you would hit the subscribe button, that would really help me out a lot. Also the like button and comment. I love your comments. Okay, now that is done. It's all flat. I like to go back in. This flower is on top of this flower. So I like to go back in and pull out this flower is on top, so I'll go back in and just make me a few lines. Same thing with this flower. Just kind of like, and I love the thicker paper because it works so good. And all you do is pull out the elements just like you cut them. The ones on top, the ones on bottom. And give it a little twist. So you've got a three-dimensional look. Pop this little baby up and he is going to be cute as he can be. Well, I didn't get him good. He'll be as cute as he can be on there. So see, you have a three-dimensional look with very little effort. Just put your little pop up there and he's ready to go. And you can go in here and you can distress this with one of the colors of the flower is what I will do sometimes. So now the other fussy cutting tip and trick that I have is I want to do a card to give as a gift, or you can use it as an ornament, you can hang it on a doorknob, you can do it however you want to. I chose the black so you all could kind of see what's happening. Now this is some old paper. I think it's Mente, I'm not sure. So I'm going to see where my bend would be. All right, so I'm going to lose a lot of this if I cut a straight line. I want the black to show so it'll pop it out. So I'm going to go around. I make sure I don't have any straight edges if I'm going to make the whole thing be a fussy cut. I decide before what I don't want in there, which I don't want this candlestick. I don't want all of these. Some of these are going to be in there, but I'm not going to try to cut that one out. I'm just going to go around and I want the tree. And I want some of the toys. I think I'm going to try to go, yeah, I'm going to go all the way there. I make sure I don't have any straight edges on the side, the bottom. Even if I just dip in and cut out like that. Just if I just do some of that. Because it's going to get lost in the shuffle. But it also, that straight edge, your eye will go straight to that straight edge, and we don't like that. We want it to move around the whole card. That's an artist trick. You want the eye to move around. So you make sure that there's interest that brings your eye back into the middle of whatever project you're doing. Whether it's a card. All right. See that little horse's tail? I'm just going to go around him. I'm not going to worry about it. I do want the little basket here. And I want to cut this out, which I decided before. I want him in some way. So I'm going to leave enough room if I decide to use that windowsill. Kind of think ahead of elements that you can use. All right, in and out. Let's just do in and out. We're not going to do every needle. So I know basically what I want, and this is a big chunk of paper, so I'm going to go right through here and I'm going to cut that big chunk off so I don't have to fight it. Now I'm going to turn him upside down and I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to get my star started, and then I'm going to cut that big chunk that I don't want. Now this makes it easier for you to maneuver. It makes it easier for you to get the cuts that you want if you don't let that big part hang on there. And a lot of our fussy cutting is this type. It's small things, so we don't have to worry about that a lot. But I like to fussy cut a lot of my big elements out. Now here again, I'm just snipping in and out. Is all I'm doing. In and out. I'm not trying to do it in any way. Now this, see, my tree is cut off here, but I'm going to do it so you don't really realize that that tree is cut off. I'm just doing kind of in and out, just like I did up at the top. We don't want any straight edges, so it won't appear. Because I'm going to put this right on the edge. I'm going to go ahead and cut that box out. Well, wait a minute. I don't think that's a box. I think that's the rug. All right, so there we go. Now, I have two options. I can bring him out to the middle of here, but I don't really like the way that looks. So even though I'm still going to bring him to the edge here. And see how nice he pops out from there? So I'm going to show you another little trick that I do that makes it not seem so white. I'm going to take the tree and I'm going to green him up with my rainforest, or any green. It doesn't matter, whatever green you have. I'm not going to do the star. I'm just going to do the edges of the tree, and it takes off those white spaces that we didn't get into. I forgot to cut the star up here. Forgot to get up there into the star. Oh, that's a light bulb. I'll just make me a little cut. And that's another thing. You can take all kinds of liberties because this is yours to do. Oops. So, and I won't do this very much. I try not to take too much out, but if I want to darken him up a little bit, I will. So I'm going to put him right there. This page, I'm going to take this mistletoe ball and cut him out, cut this whole thing out. So I do like we always do. We're going to take out this edge. And it's scary because there's a lot of open edge here and you feel like you have to get every bit. But remember, we have a trick that we can take care of that. So let's go up through here and around. Speaking of Christmas, Clanton has all kinds of stuff ready for Christmas. We're going to have a big event calendar going on. We have lots of stuff happening. We also are having a fall fest, which that's going to be a lot of fun too. And then it's real. You can go to the Chamber of Commerce. They have a site. It's on there, or also the City of Clanton, and get all of the information on there. So it's going to be an exciting time. I love the holidays. All right, now we're down to the pine needles. I told you don't stress about them. Just go around them. And same thing with the berries. Just go around them because we do want those berries. We just aren't going to be able to get them all done. I am going in and out on this. This one's easy. Again, I'm just bubble cutting. This doesn't take any time at all. I love to sit and do this watching TV. Now I'm back into the pine needles, so all I'm going to do is make me some divots. I'm not going to try to get each one right now. I want my little star to hang. So I'm kind of going to go around him a little bit, not stressing. There we go. See, he's got a big old bubble around him. I want him, since I'm doing the black, I do want this, so it's so tiny. I get to the end of my scissors where I want it, and then I snip. And I come around. I'm not going to hollow out the heart. I'm going to leave it as it is, but I am going to cut around it because I do want it. And this little bubbly ball, let's hope I don't cut him off. If you do cut him off, don't stress. We'll just glue him where he goes. All right, now I'm going to go back and look at this, and I see I have a straight edge here. So I'm going, and I want those pine needles to show, so I'm going to go back in and just divot out. Just going to take me a little sharp divot, not worrying about it at all. See what difference that little bit made? Just that little bit. I'm going to do the same thing right here. And I know I'm probably getting some of the green needle, but that's okay. I'm just going to take me a divot out of here. I love the way you can think about these things to do them. All right, now remember we went around here. I'm going to go back in and I'm just going to take me a little bit of that white out. Same thing with the berries. I'm just going to go back in. I'm not worried about it. If I get a berry or if I get a green, and I'm going to take a little divot out. All right, let's see what that looks like, if there's anything else we need to do. I don't think so. I think I'm going to go back. I did not go back into my green. I just left what was on here. And I'm just going to tap him a little bit. Now, I'm not tapping the whole thing. I want my berries to stay red. If I tap them with green, they're going to turn black. So I want my berries to stay red, and I'm going to use that. That's a quick and an easy way. I will tell you another trick that you can do. If you want to, you can get your colored pencil, your watercolor pencil, whatever your favorite is, and go back in there and brighten up those dots. You can do that. Now, I told you I wanted this little elf on the shelf. So there's nowhere in here that I can stabilize him, make it look right. So I'm going to cut out this whole thing anyway. And it's just I'm making sure that you can see that this is a window, because I have not decided how I want him to show. There's no window back here. There's no way we can do that. But I do want him to be popping up. So I think I've decided, leave his little hands. I'm just going to go in here again. I'm getting very close to the hat. I am doing that. That's easy for you to get close to the hat. Go down. I'm going to leave his hands on this little windowsill. See, I'm doing my little snippet thing. And I am going to leave one side a little longer than the other. I'm not going to stress about that one. Now, I have not glued this down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my X-Acto knife. I'm going to put him right here. I'm going to make me a cut right here. Just a cut. I'm going to trim him off a little bit because I decided not to make him that way, remember. I'm going to find my little cut that I made. I'm going to open it up more. Didn't quite get it enough. Then I'm going to pop him right down in there. Just going to pop him in there. I'm going to take my finger and kind of twirl his little hat so he looks 3D. Behind here, we're just going to take a little touch, not much, just a little touch of glue just to make sure he's stabilized. I'm going to hold it for a minute, and there we have a little 3D using our Fussy cut. Isn't he cute? Let's see if there's another element that we would like to use in here. Now, see Mama putting a wreath up? We could cut her out, pop her over here. I'm not going to, but we could. And I really don't see anything other than Santa saying Merry Christmas. So I'm going to just cut him out a square. Just go ahead and cut this whole square out. And just bubble cut around his head. And I'm just going to go in the Christmas, come back out around. And you see how I did that. I just had my navigators and around the C. I am going to chop out a little bit of this. Not much, because it's already so close to the edge. Put him here. I want him there, him here. And then let's take our edge off here. I didn't do that. See how a straight edge will catch your eye so quick. I'm just doing our normal little thing, our little in and out. See how much difference that made? And I'm going to leave what's on there, and I'm just taking the edges. And I'm going to go ahead and do the Christmas edges, simply so it'll appear that there's a shadow there. And one thing you could do is you could fussy cut around his head and pop it out and make him 3D too. I'm going to nestle him to the tree right in there. Not much, just a little. Okay, so see, by fussy cutting, we used our background to our advantage. So now we have our tree, our card. So I am going to, as you use it, the edges will lift up more. So I'm going to take my Scotty, I'm going to flip him over. I'm going to put a strip here. I don't want this edge to completely lift up, so I'm going to put a strip there. And then what's left right, and I might need just a little more there. All right, let's place him a little off the edge and a little from the bottom. Now I'm going to do the same thing with him. Put that there, and I want a little tiny piece put here. Don't care if there's any there or not. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to put Santa. So this is a little trick that you can use scraps with if you want to. You can use, well, anything you want to make it. I'm going to snuggle him in there just a little bit. Now here's another trick that I use. Since this is black, and I really don't want anything popping out there to be white. I really don't. So I have my black baker's twine. I thought I had red. I think it's in the house, so red would work just as well. This is, you can get it from May. It's the chunky twine. I like the chunky twine. It's easier to control. Let's see if I can find the end of it. This is a brand new one. There we go. All right. I'm going to do a pretty long piece. I want him to have a little green instead of brown because we have so much green. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to distress him. Now remember to kind of do both sides. You just kind of have to do him around and around until you can make sure you've got them all done. It doesn't matter if you don't. I'm just going to show you how quick and how easy this is to, if you don't have green thread, twine. All right, I know I made it a little long, so I'm going to use my pokey tool. Put it through the hole, then bring your twine through. There we go. This is a great little tool. Love it. All right. Then I'm going to do this. Now, I'm leaving it long because I may put it over a door knob. I just thought about that. I said I cut it too long, but I didn't. I think I've got a door handle I can put this over. Or we can hang it on a tree. And if you want to use it for a gift card, all you have to do is go to and from. And we can make a little holly in the corner. So there's those tips and tricks. If I ever see any thread, especially yarn type things that are in small quantities, I always buy them. So always get them because you can always use them in some way. So I could have used this black as the little holder, card holder thing. Always do that. And the second thing is keep you a stash, and I'm sure most of you do, of different types of ribbon because they look so pretty together. See, this would have looked pretty in with that, and I may change it and do that. Put both of them together, or I may put 3 strands of red. That's another trick that's super easy, and it makes it awfully pretty. So, there are some of my tips and tricks. I'll share more at another time. Until our next adventure. Bye.